Bonjour, y'all. This is Miss K. Welcome back to Go Cuisine. Today we're making cookies again. Brown butter chocolate chip, one of my favorite recipes. Let's get started. So unlike many chocolate chip recipes, we're going to get started with a skillet. You need to brown 2 sticks of butter. So we're going to melt them down. Listen to this. You can certainly do this ahead of time. It does take a minute or two. But the nutty flavors we'll get are completely worth it. It'll start to smell nutty and fragrant and turn kind of brown. We're almost there. And this is what you're looking for. Like little brown bits in your butter. No black. See those? That's perfect. Next, we'll get together our dark brown sugar, our white sugar, and our salt and mix those together. And then we'll get our other team going, which is our flour and baking soda, and whisk that together or sift it. I'm going to do the same thing with the white and brown sugar. That proved to suck a little bit, so we switched to a machine. This is why God gave us machines. After we've broken up the lumps, we'll pour in that slightly cooled browned butter and mix those two together. Because the butter's melted, it's not going to cream together the way it usually does. It's still going to look sandy like this. But that's okay. That's what we're looking for. Then we're going to add an egg and an egg yolk, along with some lemon juice. Yes, a surprise ingredient. Fresh squeezed, please. And a little bit of half and half or cream, whatever you have on hand. And of course, vanilla. Once you add those, it'll start to look silky smooth like this. Lovely. Now, I like to try all kinds of chocolate chip cookie recipes, and one of the things I like to do is experiment with different sizes of chocolate chips. Or sometimes, if I want a surprise, I use chocolate discs like these. So you have options. Next, we're going to add in half of the flour and then mix it. And of course, you want to stop and scrape in between here so that everything gets mixed around. Then we'll mix in the rest of our flour, and before that's completely incorporated, we'll add in the chocolate chips or chunks, whichever one you decide to use. I decided to go with a mix of the big chunks and some regular chocolate chips. So I'm going to get this going again and then slowly sprinkle them in a little bit at a time so they get mixed in. Is that what you're supposed to do? I don't know, but that's what I do. Now this is a recipe we'll want to do ahead of time because it's going to be very loose, you'll see. We've got to give this time to chill, at least an hour or two in the refrigerator so that it'll hold its shape in the oven. Otherwise, it's going to spread all out and we don't want that. And of course, I forgot to film part of it, but I've made some heaping tablespoon balls here with my cookie scoop, and I'll demonstrate the final tray here for you. And I actually put these back in the refrigerator if I have time. If not, you can go straight to the oven. But up to you. Scoop them out, and then I go ahead and smooth out the balls too. When we get ready to cook these, we're going to preheat the oven to 375, and we're going to spread these out so that they don't touch, so that we don't get one giant blob of cookie. If you don't have a cookie scoop, you can just use a regular tablespoon. That'll work. Just make them as even as possible so they cook at the same speed. Now, I don't know that this step is actually necessary, but I do it. You decide. You can bake some rolled and some not. I just like the feel of rolling the balls and making them nice and even. Now I decided maybe this was a little crowded, and I went ahead and just did 6 per tray. And then these babies are going to go in the oven for 10 to 12 minutes, depending on your oven. Check your oven often. I would start checking them at 8 minutes because you just don't know. Now, these are darker than our regular chocolate chip cookies. That's because we use dark brown sugar and brown butter, and I left them in the oven too long. What do you want from me? And then you can move them to a rack to cool, or you can cool them on the pan. Your choice. I was making a lot, so I went ahead and moved them to a rack. This recipe is adapted from one I found online, Think on Just a Pinch. I'll link it below if you want to see the original. And if you've learned something today, or if this pleased you, please like the video and subscribe to my channel for more. I'll also leave links to the tools I'm using today in the description below if you'd like to check those out. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have cookies. Woo! These brown butter cookies have a nice nutty flavor. They're pretty flat, and that is from the butter being melted. So, there you go. So, just so you can see the texture, if you use the bigger chocolate chips, you can see there is chocolate like kind of all the way through the middle of that cookie. So that's why I like to use those discs. Break it in another spot. Yeah, see, that's the disc. So just a small amount of dough around it. Nice and crunchy, very buttery. You can taste that brown butter and that dark chocolate. You gotta make these. I mean, look at it. Beautiful, beautiful. Alright guys, bon appetit. I hope you make this. Check out this other video that YouTube has selected for you, and I'll see you in our next culinary adventure. Au revoir and bon appetit.